Thank you.
Well, what will happen now is that, as you could imagine, there was a bailout at the very last moment. So I ended up filling that gap with a presentation on what we are as Folkecenter and what we do in terms of education and small wind. I would just need a moment to start the presentation and then I come back in front of the screen. As I mentioned, Nordic Folkecenter, but I didn't say what we are. And I guess some of you know it because you have been following us from quite some time, but there are also many new faces in the program I've seen. So next slide, please. So first of all, where are we? Denmark, okay, northwest part of Denmark, where the wind really blows. And yeah, next. And then here you can see just a picture of our facilities. And now you cannot see our test center because it's just outside the picture. But you could also hear from you will also hear from other people also during the day that the test conditions here are quite good. So it's that's also why this conference is running on this setup, basically, because we want to promote small wind. We have always done it, and we want to keep on having good quality products on the market. And the only way to do it is by testing them. So our focus has changed throughout the years. Renewable energies have always been the common point, but there has been different focuses through the years. So at the very beginning, our task was to act as a research institution for the society. So we would take care of developing all the studies, all the research needed for wind and biogas mainly, and then develop some manuals which the industry, the small industry, could come in, get, and then just change very few things, but have a product working. So that means they could start a business on that, and then from there further develop. And that we have done for, yeah, as I said, for wind turbines from 7.5 to 525 kilowatt, and for biogas from 50 to 1,000 cubic meters. And then also we have done studies on integration of renewables with the energy system. So all what we are talking now with Power 2X and what to do with excess power, it's something that we have already looked throughout the years. Then, of course, as you all know, they are not easy problems, so they are not all solved. But yes, we have started to look already a long time ago, how do we do when we have too much wind in our case. And that's also because among those wind turbines that we designed, one of them, it's actually still running in Folkecenter. It's kind of the symbol of Folkecenter. And it's a 75 kilowatt unit, which can generate really a lot of electricity. And then throughout up to recent times, the electricity price was not really good. So a normal place would have just either dismissed the turbine or try to do something with more revenue. That we were, of course, interested in the research part. We are NGO, non-profit, so at the end, money is important to a certain extent. But of course, it plays a role. And when you get paid very little to put it in the grid, then you start thinking maybe we should use it in another way. And the way we have used it in these many years, it's to heat up water so that we can save on heating and heating of the building and showers and so on. And that has been a quite big saving because at the end, it's a very simple system, but it brings a huge benefit, especially now with the current times. Next, please. So yeah, here you can see just a picture of the manuals of these wind turbines we have developed. And these manuals are, we could say, open source, even if the term is not exactly correct on today's meaning. But the idea is everyone can access them in a very affordable way. So it's not something that is kept as a patent or a secret. If you are based in a country where wind energy is still not very well developed, where there is not the strong industry, that could be a very easy way to start because it's just looking at the manuals, maybe update some material, and then you have some turbines that are working. And in our case, we have a turbine that's running since 40 years now almost. So they are quite solid. Next. And then besides that, throughout the years, we have also done a lot of collaboration with the small and medium sector, mostly related with renewable energies, of course. And that has ranged in there has been many different services, from testing, from helping developing products, to more marketing related tasks or market research. It all depends what is asked and what we can deliver at the moment, of course. But yeah, these are just some of our activities, and among these activities are also organization of educational activities, both for private people and for companies or policymakers. Yeah, that's what I was saying, that our events range from online events to more in-person, from children visiting from the local school to politicians from other countries coming to see how can we go with the green transition. So it's just a matter of finding the right audience for the right target. And then we are very lucky because the surroundings of Folkecenter are very easy to show that renewable energy work. Because when we drive more or less 1 hour in circle, then we are able to see working installations of almost every renewable energy installation. We don't have hydropower, but or at least not big hydropower, but all the rest is there. So of course, that's when you get people that might have a certain knowledge on renewables, but more academic knowledge, and more like, yes, it can be done, but there are many limitations. And then you come in this part of Denmark, which is not very populated, and then you see, okay, you can actually do it, and it's very simple. So it's a game changer for many people, and that's also part of our role. Yeah, next, please. And then, as I mentioned, one of our key activities, especially in the latest years, is testing small wind turbines, and that's also why this conference series started, because it was part of this project of the establishing a new test center. So the conferences were the marketing part, let's say, to get and reach customers, possible customers. And we could see that we have started conversations with some of the people that we met through these conferences. So of course, for us, it's very important, but it's also, we can see that there is an interest. We have seen a lot of people, I would say the majority of people who are joining these events are coming back. So within all the limitations, all the technical problems that we have had this morning, and yeah, hopefully there will not be more, still we see that these events are quite relevant for people working in the industry. And not only, also for people who are just interested in knowing more about this. And the fact that they are free, of course, that makes the event more accessible. But we also would like to build this place where we can meet every year, and then where everyone that's interested in this field, that's working in this field, can come together and share the latest developments, so that we are always up to date. Yeah, and by the way, we made a new website for the small wind, so you're welcome to visit it. Yeah. And then very briefly, that's something we have done in the past. We were, there's one more click. We have one more, please. So there is a catalog that was collecting as many small wind turbines up to 50 kilowatt as possible. Of course, there are some markets which are really difficult to enter and difficult to analyze, but we could get quite some overview on that. Now, the question is, this latest edition is 2016, so it is a little bit old. And it was really a lot of resources to be invested, because we had to contact people and people would not come back, and maybe a year after the company was bankrupt. So it's a small sector, and it's a difficult sector to reach people and to have people on the market for many years. So what we decided is, next please, is that, okay, now this catalog, couple more. Yeah. This catalog now, it's available for free. You will get the link, and then we move on from there and we go online. And for those of you who have seen this in a couple of conferences before, yes, it's still not 100% finished. We are, I would say, at 90%, but we are also a small team, so we have to go with priorities. It is in our mindset. It is something that we want to do, and hopefully it will be done soon. But the idea is that we have a place where all the manufacturers, all the developers can self-insert the information. And then maybe once a year or so, we can just run a check and call for an update and see if the company is still alive or not. And this is publicly accessible, of course. Yeah. And then one of the things that has been really pushing our attention for us in the last couple of years is training schools of different grades, from university to high schools, let's say, in wind technology. And the training we provide, it's quite basic, because we have often people coming in with no knowledge at all or very little knowledge. Maybe they just started a course on wind energy, but they don't really understand aerodynamics or anything like this. So what we do is that we make them build a small blade made in wood, and then they have to test it. They have to test it for power. They have to test it for, we do a small load test, and we can really see, first of all, the big smiles when the wind turbine rotates, and not so big smiles when the wind turbine not rotates, or not rotates but doesn't produce anything. But the general thing that we have seen out of more than 100 people that we have trained now in this way is that they start to get an interest in the topic. And then maybe their blade in that day is not the best one, but now they have the tools to build it again. So they can also, in the case of university students, they can get this as an appetizer to get more interested in the actual theory. And then, of course, when you study theory with a purpose, then you get it much better. So this has been the situation. You can try to click on the video if you go.
I can't see how to get into the presentation. I don't see the presentation.
No, click on that. The presentation is on that screen.
Oh, I have no mouse there.
Wait.
There.
No, that's complete. Let's see, when does it open now? Can you see the window that I'm opening?
Yeah, we're starting to get there.
Good. So this is just our latest video. So as you can see, it's very basic training. We start with paper blades, and then we go with the wood, and it's a couple of days training. But you could see from the faces that there is quite some fun involved in that. And this is, by the way, what happened last week. So it's very recent video. Next, please. And then we are planning also to go a little bit more into that, and to have build your own wind turbine as a whole course. We haven't planned any date yet, because it used to be, we wanted to do it a year and a half ago, but then with Corona, then we were limited on that. So if someone is interested in that, then you can just mark your interest on the link that you will get in the presentation. Yeah. And then something else that has been a connecting point throughout all these almost 40 years, it's the training program. So we get people from, we get trainees from all over the world, all kinds of educations, all kinds of ages, backgrounds. There is no limitation. And here you can see just a couple of pictures of the life they have. So you know. And so then when we look at the trainee part, we try to push them into do things practically as much as possible. And here we had a couple of trainees, and it was last winter, that they took the, probably most of you know, the Hugh Pigot manual, and then just tried to build a blade. But not just a blade just following the manual. You can go next one. They wanted, because they did a lot of studies on aerodynamics and they were really fed up of the theory. So then they wanted to make a blade that was very silent and that it was good and with a different design. And here you can see the process. They started with the hand hammer to peel it off. Then they realized it was way too long process. Yeah, next please. So they went with the grinder. And it still took them quite some time, a couple of days as minimum of working all the day. But you can see the blade starts to take shape. Next, please. And yeah, more about the painting and the balancing and so on. And then here you have the blade. They just made two because they were at the end of their internship and they were really hurried to finish it. But then we installed it. And next, please. And then we tried it out, and they were also quite lucky that we got a sort of storm of, what was it, 30 meters per second, more or less. So, and that also survived that. So, such a small blade designed by students who, before coming here, didn't know anything about wind, could hold the Danish wind. And yeah, here you can see now it's good to have a mask when you do this work because you turn out yellow basically. And if you click on the video, go back to this the video there, the link, because we have made or the students have made a video when they were on the crane. No, back. Yes. And yeah, it's running. So of course, at the beginning, they were there, and probably the angle of attack was not the proper one. So they were hoping something to happen, and yeah, now it starts to happen, but still not enough.
They're finding out they're shaping it themselves.
Yeah. So it will come, I promise. Just for you to understand also how was their feeling in that moment. They are up there in the crane, first time ever, of course, and they build something, and well, now it starts rotating. There should be also some sound from them. Takes its time, but you can see that now there will be quite an acceleration. And of course, that's the moment in which you realize that the last 2 weeks spending the workshop have been worth something. Yeah. And as Tony was just saying, then they also learned that they cannot stand in front of the wind turbine if they want to get some production. But it's all learning, of course. Next, please. And then we had another project a couple of years ago in which some of our students built up a floating foundation for a small wind turbine. Next, please. And then they also tested they just brought it with our electric van to the field and they tested. And by the way, it's not a picture taken in June, it's taken in December. So yeah, it was that guy was quite cold that day. But at the end, they have fun, they learn by doing, and that's our goal, that we get motivated people outside the Folkecenter so that then when they go in the industry, they are really with the heart in that. And the guy who is there, which is I think it's June, he's working in a small wind in a wind company now, so kind of worked. And basically anyone can come or can become part of our trainee family. Next please. We have the applications open all year around, and we don't care where do you come from or what you have studied, or if you don't know anything about renewables. As long as you are interested in learning and being in an international environment, then you're always welcome. And as said, learn by doing, that's our philosophy. Then there will be a link in the slides for more information. Let's see, there is more. Next. Yeah, that was pretty much it. You can just stop share.
Yeah, well, I have a lot of it.
Yeah. Normally we could do this very easily, but today the keyboard decided not to work, so we need to be true to keyboard. Yeah. Meanwhile, we get the screen again. Any question? Just close the. I have a question. Yes, we have a question from the audience here. Yes.
So stop sharing screen. It's not working.
Just needs to find where here.
There was. Yeah, I couldn't get it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, which
I have a
question?
question regarding wind energy. Sometimes it is intermittent and the loads does not match in the same time. Then there is a complementary role of storage. Did we think to complete the role and get some storage medium so that we store our wind energy for the time when we have our loads?
Yeah.
And this pushes me to the new era of generating green hydrogen from wind, and then we can use it on the time what we need.
Yeah.
And if we are making the training and education in wind resource, we should complement it by energy storage, by having a call for a green hydrogen academy in Folkecenter, and the training and education and spreading the word. As Folkecenter was pioneer for the last 40 years, now starts the era of green hydrogen or zero carbon world. There is a lot of information should be disseminated, and localization of manufacturing, and having our storage medium complemented with the wind turbine.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So right now, I mean, what we are doing, it's at a lower level because, of course, when you work with hydrogen, the resources that you need are insane. It's really out of our reach at the moment. But I mean, we are teaching as a welcome part of the trainees, for example. It is explaining also how our storage system works, which is a temporary solution. The hydrogen part, that's definitely an important part. Denmark is also looking a lot into it now. And yes, it would be great to start some more education facility like this, because at the end there are, when you look at the hydrogen sector, there are still very few places that are actually giving you a practical training in the topic. It might be some specific companies or some universities that have one course dedicated on that. But we are far away from having a hydrogen academy, to my understanding, which means there is room to try to do something. Why not? And we are always open to new things and to...
And the areas with hydrogen or with storage, we are not only talking about wind.
No.
The same story goes for solar energy.
Of course.
Because there is no sun by night, we have 12 hours of no sun, then you need to store it.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
so both wind and solar can complement to each other with green hydrogen.
Absolutely. And of course, in Denmark, you are looking most on integration wind hydrogen because we have a lot of wind. But of course, that's not the optimal solution in every places. Other places might have more sun. Other places might have maybe some other geothermal or other resources, which some of them might be more easy to balance. But still, when we have too much of something, then if we can turn it into something else that we can use to power cars, to power heating systems or whatever, then why not? Any more questions from the audience?